Weekend, though. Things are trending warmer through the end of next week. We'll have the details on that a little bit later.
All righty, Mike, that sounds good. Thank you very much. Talk to you again in a bit with more. So, Governor Janet Mills and Commissioner Jean Lambrou of the Maine Department of Health and Human Services joined Dr. Nirav Shah at the CDC briefing today, and they reported no new fatalities since yesterday, so that holds the total at 62 people. The number of COVID-19 cases has gone up to a total of 1,330, which is an increase of 76 from yesterday, but many of those were expected. There are also 787 people who have recovered. There are now 481 active cases. Dr. Shah also talked about how the state was able to partner with IDEXX to triple the amount of testing available in Maine right now. IDEXX got approval from the FDA this morning. This will soon help the restrictions or lift the restrictions of who can and cannot be tested.
Healthcare providers all across Maine will be able to seek testing for anyone they suspect of having COVID-19, including not simply people with symptoms, but also people who've had close contact with a person with COVID-19, like a spouse. Furthermore, this breakthrough in capacity will allow the state to more fully implement universal testing in congregate care settings at first, such as nursing homes, nursing facilities, and shelters, and will enable the state to work with providers to conduct voluntary sentinel testing or spot checks on patients in different parts of the healthcare system. The expansion of testing is also crucial to our gradual restarting of the economy.
Now, the governor says this testing could be implemented as early as the end of next week. The latest unemployment numbers were released this morning. A total of 16,100 people filed initial claims for unemployment benefits in the past week. That's up from 7,400 the prior week. About 10,500 of those claims can be attributed to the implementation of the CARES Act passed by Congress. The remaining 5,600 claims were for state unemployment insurance benefits. There are also 12,000 claims that are not included in the total because they were initially declined. Since the 15th of last month, the department has paid out over $240 million in benefits. Port Resources, a center in South Portland for people with developmental and cognitive and behavioral challenges, is confirming there have been 30 cases within 6 of its programs. Many have already recovered, but since this past weekend, 6 clients and 9 new staff members have contracted COVID-19. Port Resources supports 67 people with apartments and group homes at 19 locations. 230 people are employed by that agency. Bath Iron Works is helping a medical swab company produce more material for testing. BIW saying it will deliver 30 industrial machines to Puritan Medical Products, that's in Guilford. And the federal government actually tapped Puritan to increase its production of swabs to help with the nationwide shortage of testing. More than 10 other Maine businesses will help Bath Iron Works create parts for those machines too. So Maine was approved for the federal pandemic electronic benefit transfer program finally, which will provide reimbursements to families with children eligible for free or reduced lunches for meals while they're at home. Families who receive supplemental nutrition assistance or SNAP, as well as non-SNAP households, will get this assistance. The program was established through the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. A new national employment report paints a grim picture and confirms economists' worst fears. Record-breaking layoffs and business slowdowns have put the U.S. economy in basically a coronavirus recession. NBC's Jolene Kent has the latest on these terrible numbers.
Another devastating headline rocking the economy. Nearly 3.2 million claims for unemployment were filed last week. The total number since the pandemic began in mid-March now surging above 33 million. It's a bad sign of what's to come in Friday's jobs report. Payroll processor ADP already reporting at least 20 million private sector jobs were lost in April. The hardest hit industries are trade, transportation, and utilities, construction and hospitality, with a total of more than 14 million furloughed. Feeling the pressure is Frank Facero-Reese, the owner of Rothschild's Restaurant, a family-run business that's been feeding Newport Beach residents since 1977. He's using money from a PPP loan to pay his rent and 5 cooks to fill takeout orders, but was also forced to lay off 20 employees.
It's horrible. People that we've had working here for 30 years, and you have to look them in the eye and tell them that, that this is not going to be sustainable. It's tear-jerking, honestly. It's very frustrating.
Out-of-work restaurant employees and construction workers are living examples of the real-world impact those jobless numbers have.
Hopefully I have a job to go back to.
Emilio Marocchioli is a third-generation painter living in New Jersey with his wife and 3 kids, with one more on the way. He's now getting unemployment, but still hasn't been able to get all the benefits he's entitled to.
I can't get through the Department of Labor to even let me know what happened.
With over 30 million jobless claims filed in just the last 6 weeks, state agencies are already pushed to their limits. Some unemployment systems buckling under the pressure, websites crashing, hours-long wait times, and funds lost in the mail, adding to the growing frustration. Hope and money seemingly running out for people who desperately need both.
The stream of bad economic news is likely to continue tomorrow when the Labor Department puts out its April jobs report. We're expecting to see an unemployment rate of at least 15%, which would be the worst since the Great Depression. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Los Angeles.
So today is the day of our our Feed Maine Telethon in partnership with the Good Shepherd Food Bank. News Center's Ryan Breton is answering your calls this afternoon. And a big thank you to Unum, matching $25,000 that came in the last hour. Again, call 855-875-4328 between now and 9 p.m. or visit feedmaine.com. Please help us out.
Instead of a week's worth of stuff to tide you over, it's more like you're careful about 2 weeks worth of food.
The Bethel Food Pantry is serving its residents once a week now to help keep the community healthy during the pandemic, but those efforts are going beyond just the town. Our Hannah Yeshivi is going to bring us that story after the break. All right, we're back. So here is one of the innovative things the Good Shepherd Food Bank is doing with your donations through our Feed Maine Telethon. They're putting together emergency food boxes. Each one includes things like locally grown bags of apples and potatoes, along with shelf-stable food. And they're designed to provide about 34 meals and supplement a family's food budget for about a month. The way the boxes are handed out, too, it cuts down on person-to-person contact at food pantries and allows them to operate with fewer volunteers. And listen to this, Good Shepherd really knows how to stretch a dollar. Each box can be put together for just $40. If you would like to donate and help, call 855-875-4328 right now, or again, visit feedmaine.com. In a combined effort, organizations in Bethel came together to buy and package and deliver food in the River Valley. That includes Andover, Canton, Dixfield, Peru, Rumford, and Mexico. News Center Maine's Hannah Yeshivi brings us the story.
On Wednesdays, the Good Shepherd Food Bank truck arrives at the Bethel Food Pantry to deliver loads of food. Food that serves residents from Western Maine.
My question in the beginning with the food pantry is always not what do you need for today? What do you need for the next month?
Dave Bean is the director of the Bethel Food Pantry. He says they serve 150 families a month, but with some changes to accommodate the current health concern.
No client is allowed out of their car. They just stay in the car. We loaded it in the trunk.
Because of the pandemic, the Bethel Food Pantry is now open once a week to serve the needs of the community.
Surprisingly, we get a lot of meat, which is really expensive in the stores.
But those efforts are going way beyond the Bethel Pantry.
Everybody in the Bethel area knows each other. So when this happened early on, a whole bunch of us got together and created this thing called Banner, which is the Bethel Area Neighborhood Response to COVID-19.
A group of local restaurants, the school district, the food pantry, turning the leftover food they had into meals for the community, heading all the way up from Bethel to Andover.
As most people in Maine are apt to do, especially Western Maine, they always just say they're fine. Yeah, we're good. And then you talk a little bit more. You say, well, could you use some flour and some sugar? Would you like some tuna? What could you? And then suddenly they're, oh, well, yeah, that would be good.
Efforts from Bean and his team that are going literally a very long way. Bean tells me there's not a choice between helping one family or another. They can help everyone. And their telethon today is going to help get more food boxes into the hands of those that need it. Hannah Yeshivi, News Center, Maine.
And again, the telethon's running until 9 tonight. If you are able to donate, please do so. Help us get our neighbors the healthy meals they need.
I feel like I hooked some people to stick around for the full forecast by saying we've got a warm-up late next week. But what if I told you we've got snow happening before that? We've got all the details coming up after the break.
All right, we are back. Mike Slifer is in for Keith today, and You know, it's looking pretty nice out there, Mike. It's pretty crazy what's going to happen over the weekend, but I know you got to start with what's what right now, right?
Exactly, Lee. You know what? Let's take in the sunshine today. We'll enjoy the nicer conditions while we have them. A lot of us get to enjoy a pretty decent day here in Maine. I do think that we will keep the sunshine around, mix in some clouds here and there as we get a little bit later into the day, but in general, you get to enjoy those nicer conditions. Now, I will say a couple of things with the upcoming forecast. First and foremost, today is the outlier. Take a look at these temperatures. We've got some 50s and even a couple of 60s mixed in here and there. A little bit cooler right along the coastline, and as we head further inland is where we've actually got some of those temperatures closer to that 60-degree mark. A couple of showers here or there on the radar. Not too much of an issue. I don't think that's going to affect many people today. A little bit of cloud cover again here or there, but in general, the big story here is what's coming up as we get into the weekend. So let's run through the next couple of days here. We will ultimately start off with temperatures in the 40s. Here's showers building to our west later on tonight. Again, not too concerned about that, but they do move through a little bit here or there overnight tonight into your Friday morning. The bigger story is what happens Friday night into Saturday morning. So that's going to allow some colder air to filter on in. And that also sets the stage for our next storm to form. And what ends up happening here is we've got a storm that's going to build in late Friday night and into Saturday, and with it comes the chance for some snow. Temperatures are going to fall as we get later into Friday night. And again, this is just kind of the perfect setup to get a wintry storm in May. So let me explain how this is all going to work. We've got our cold front that's going to sink down, and our next storm actually forms along that front. So here you see it parked over West Virginia. That's going to start to build north, and it takes pretty much the perfect track to wrap in that colder air. As it does so, we see a transition to snow, especially through interior New England. I do think this model might be overdoing some of the snow right along the coastline. I wouldn't be surprised to see some flakes mix in, but again, that seems to be more of an interior thing that we'll be watching. It is just a punch of cold air that builds in with this storm. I mean, this is impressive. Last time I used this graphic was in February, and I didn't even have to change it for what we're experiencing here in May. So overall, snowfall outlook about 3 to 6 inches, a little bit higher through some of the higher elevations inland, about 1 to 3 Lewiston, Augusta, Bangor, and then if you're on the coastline, expect roughly an inch. There might be a slushy coating here or there. But overall, again, I do think that this doesn't last long. We start to improve late next week. Your marine forecast will show seas becoming a bit rougher, especially tomorrow night and into the weekend. Your 7-day forecast, temperatures chilly Saturday, Sunday, blustery both days, starting to warm things up by the middle of next week. It's the end of next week, though, where I think we'll actually start to factor in some days back in the 60s, Lee. So if you're waiting for those sunny, warm days, they aren't too far in the future.
I am waiting for those sunny, warm days, for sure. And I know I'm not alone. Mike,
No.
Thank you very much. So yeah, a reminder today, it's our Feed Maine fundraiser in partnership with the Good Shepherd Food Bank. News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow is answering your calls this afternoon.
Hi everyone, I'm News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow. Thank you so much to everyone who has donated so far today to our annual Feed Maine telethon in a time when it's really needed the most. Now, even before this pandemic, about 180,000 Mainers were food insecure, and Good Shepherd Food Bank says that number could go up to 250,000. To donate today, you can call in until 9 o'clock this evening, or you can visit feedmaine.com.
Our Feed Maine Telethon started early this morning, but it's going all day, and in fact until 9 o'clock tonight. We've just completed a very special hour. Unum was our Matching Mainers partner from noon to 1. And yes, that was when the CDC news conference was going on, but still Unum matched $25,000 in donations that came in during that time. So a big thank you to everybody who donated then and those who are matching donations. Now, Cindy's not here this noon, but she did sit down and chat with Steve Mitchell, the Chief Transformation Officer at Unum, about why that insurance company wanted to get involved with this program.
Having a caring spirit is really a big part of the Unum culture, and we just look for opportunities to give back. I mean, I've witnessed it time and time again through many struggles, whether it's with their neighbors or the community, and this is a great cause. So we really appreciate the chance to partner with News Center Maine, and we understand what Mainers are going through, and that this is going to help them through this challenging time.
Yeah, you guys have been impacted by this. Everybody has. I mean, you're just looking at to reach out with food specifically.
We reach out into the communities we have major operations in. We focus a lot on education, we focus on health and wellness, and we focus on arts and culture. So this really fits in that health and wellness category. I mean, being sure during this challenging time that Mainers and our neighbors have the resources to feed their families and keep them healthy during this time is important to us. And again, it's great we can partner with Center Maine and folks like the Good Shepherd Food Bank, who has a great network to get this done all across the state.
Yeah. Are you hearing need out there from the people that you have as clients, etc.?
We hear the need. I mean, friends and neighbors. We hear from our employees who have friends and neighbors that have needs. We have clearly employees that are involved in a lot of other community organizations and their churches and their educational institutions that are hearing needs. And as a company, we're hearing needs from employers and employees. We offer a lot of leave services and products where, for people that are ill or need that help. That's part of why we're here and what we do, and we are hearing from them, and we're working we're working remotely and serving our customers and getting that work done for them.
So appreciate you guys coming out with $25,000 in matching funds for this hour.
It's our pleasure, and I want to thank all the folks who are going to call in, who are calling in, doing what you can. It's really important. Like, every bit of it makes a difference, because again, food insecurity was an issue in Maine before these events, and this just exacerbates it for so many families. So what a great chance, if you're in a position to do something, to take the time and have it be really impactful for the community.
And again, we are still taking donations throughout the day. Call 855-875-4328 or visit feedmaine.com. If now's a bad time, the phone lines will be open right until 9 tonight. Please donate. All right, we're right in the middle of National Nurses Week. So coming up next on News Center Maine, we're going to hear from a nurse at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center. So as I mentioned before the break, we are now in National Nurses Week, and if there may be never a better time than now to show our appreciation to them. So now, through next Wednesday, we're going to be sharing clips and generally celebrating the nursing profession.
Hi there, my name is Drew Beauvais and I work at Northern Light Maine Coast Hospital here in Ellsworth, Maine. We have a rock star team here in the ED. We all come in as one, we work as one, and then we get to leave as one. We're here for our community and we are doing our best to help keep people safe and healthy at this time. I got into nursing originally because of my grandmother. She needed a lot of home health when I was younger, and I just admired the women that came in to assist her so much that I just wanted to be part of that world. Luckily, it's worked out. So we're here for you, we're here for each other, our community. We'd love everyone to stay safe at this time and, keep distance in mind.
That is awesome. Do you have a nurse in your life, a family member, a friend, maybe somebody you would like to celebrate? Well, send a text with nurse as your text word, and we will send you a link where you can upload a video. News Center Maine is going to be right back as we continue our Feed Maine telethon this afternoon as well. Stay right there. And we continue with our Feed Maine telethon this afternoon, a little different than past years because the volunteers are taking your donations over the phone from the comfort of their homes, for safety reasons, obviously. So far, we have raised more than $322,000. That's great. Thank you very much to our three matching partners. And the hours this morning and this noon, we were sponsored by Patron Oxford Insurance and New England Cancer Specialists this morning, and Unum from 12 to 1. Right now, Ryan Breton is one of the News Center Maine employees manning the phones. Hello there, Ryan. Oh, if you'd like to,
guys.
If you would like, we'll let Ryan talk in a second. If you'd like to donate, you can text FOOD to 207-828-6622 or call 855-875-4328 between 5 and 9 tonight, or you can visit feedmaine.com. And yeah, we'll let Ryan talk in a second, but we got to let Mike talk first about what's happening out there right now. First of all, it's quite a nice day out there, Mike.
Beautiful, Lee, especially where we're starting to mix in some 60s through inland parts of Maine. Freiburg now up to 60 degrees. We're getting close in Augusta at 57. So the nice thing about today is that with the sunshine out there, it's not quite as breezy as yesterday. Feels decent outside, up to 55 in Lewiston and Farmington and Bethel, 60 in Buxton too. The eastern half of Maine shows temperatures still climbing, 58 in Herman now, 57 in Bangor, up to 53 in Cooper, 50 in Presque Isle right now, and 51 in Holton. Enjoy the warmer day while it's here because it looks like things are going to take a turn for the cold this weekend. Could be a couple showers through the Central Highlands and into central Maine, closer to the Bangor metro area, but again, not really a huge issue. I do think a lot of us enjoy quieter conditions through the day. Similar story through New England, starting to see that cloud cover fill through the Connecticut River Valley, with a little bit more cloud cover up the Hudson River Valley in New York State. Couple of things to point out. Mother's Day weekend is this weekend, and it's going to be cold on Saturday. This is probably going to be one of the coldest days that we've had in quite some time, so we got to prepare for some snow, some rain. Lee, I think that Saturday's weather is really going to be a shock to the system for a lot of people.
All right, well, thanks for the warning, Mike. We'll try and prepare ourselves. So, if you're just joining us now, then that means you likely were not watching the CDC briefing earlier in the day. So let me run down a few of the things that happened. First, Governor Janet Mills and Commissioner Jean Lambro of the Maine Department of Health and Human Services joined Dr. Nirav Shah at the CDC briefing today, and they reported that there have been no new fatalities since yesterday, so that's great news. So that holds to 62, the number of people who have died in Maine. The number of COVID-19 cases overall has gone up to a total of 1,330, which is quite a big increase, an increase of 76 from yesterday, but the bulk of those at Tyson Foods and Springbrook Nursing Care Facility, and those were expected. There are also 787 people who have recovered. There are now 481 active cases. The big announcement today, though, was about the state of Maine partnering with IDEX of Westbrook to get more testing. IDEX was able to make a test and got FDA approval this morning. Governor Janet Mills says this will triple Maine's testing capacity, and it'll pretty much stop the restrictions on who could be tested. She also said this is really big for the reopening of Maine's economy.
With this additional capacity, Maine CDC will better be able to gauge the prevalence of the virus throughout the state, and that data in turn will help inform the appropriateness of lifting certain restrictions safely and moving through our various reopening stages. As a result of the new testing capacity, we do expect to update the plan to restart Maine's economy very soon.
Now, the governor says this testing could be implemented as early as the end of next week as well. Now to the latest unemployment numbers. They were released today. Nationwide, more than 3 million people filed new filings this week over last week. Here in Maine, a total of 16,100 people filed initial claims. That is up from 7,400 the prior week. About 10,500 of those claims can be attributed to the implementation of the CARES Act passed by Congress. The remaining 5,600 claims were for state unemployment insurance benefits. There are also 12,000 claims that are not included in the total because they were initially declined. Since the 15th of March, the department has paid out more than $240 million in benefits. Port Resources, that's a center for individuals who have developmental or cognitive or behavioral challenges, and it's in South Portland. They're confirming now they have 30 coronavirus cases within 6 different programs they have. Many have already recovered, though, but since this past weekend, 6 new clients and 9 new staff members have contracted COVID-19. Port Resources supports 67 people with apartments and groups homes. They have 19 locations. 230 people are employed by that agency. Bath Iron Works is helping a medical swab company produce more material for coronavirus testing. The yard says it will deliver 30 industrial machines to Puritan Medical Products in the town of Guilford. Now, federal officials actually tapped Puritan to increase its production of swabs to help with a nationwide shortage of testing. More than 10 other Maine businesses will help Bath Iron Works create parts for these machines as well. And Maine's been approved for the federal Pandemic Electronic Benefit Transfer Program. That provides reimbursements to families with children who are eligible for free or reduced cost lunch for meals while they're at home. Now, families who receive supplemental nutrition assistance, that's the SNAP program, as well as non-SNAP households will get this assistance. The program was established through the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. All right, now let's say hi to Ryan Breton, who is answering your calls this afternoon. How are things going, Ryan?
Hey Lee, yeah, I've been connected for almost 2 hours now. I got a call about an hour ago with a $300 donation. Really impressive stuff. I've been involved now in several of these telethons over the last few years, but I have to say, you know, in this time of need, it's just so inspiring to see so many people. And it doesn't even have to be a big donation. If you've got 10 or 20 bucks that you want to chip in, you can call the number. It's 855-875-4328. 1-855-875-4328. And as you were talking about, the Good Shepherd Food Bank has emergency food boxes as a way to kind of limit contact in this time too. So fewer volunteers are involved in, you know, physically meeting up and that kind of thing. So, you know, this is a great cause, and it's really impressive to see already over $320,000. And as you mentioned, we go through 9 o'clock this evening. So thanks to everybody who's called me. I'm getting a little lonely though now, so pick up the phone and call. We'll send it back to you.
All right, sounds good, Ryan. Thank you very much. Well, now more than ever, a lot of people are struggling to feed their families, as we've been talking about these tough times. They're bringing people together in unique ways, though, too. News Center Maine's Chloe Thibault tells us about a camp in Central Maine and how it's been working to help its community. Back to continue the Feed Maine telethon, and as I said before the break, News Center Maine's Chloe Thibault has a story about a camp in Central Maine working to help the whole community.
Like most camps, summer operations at Camp Metchuana and Winthrop will likely look a bit different this year. That's why staff members are taking on a new project right now to help their community.
It's kind of hidden in this part of the state, but it's definitely there.
Hunger hits Central Maine hard. That's something Norman Tom says he has learned during his 30-plus years as director at Camp Metchuana.
I think most people would be shocked about the food insecurity.
COVID-19 has made life even harder for some families. It's why Tom started a new operation at the camp, feeding hungry children during remote learning in Monmouth, Winthrop, and neighboring towns.
Some of the schools in this area are going to be struggling to provide meals.
He and his team have partnered with the Cottrell Taylor Christmas Basket Fund program, designed to help families during the holiday season. This year, though, has been an exception.
I get anywhere from 17 to 25 calls a week saying that they're in need because either their hours got cut or their jobs, they got laid off.
And for some Mainers, those phone calls can be hard to make.
A lot of pride is there, and people don't want to admit that there's a need at home.
The work being done at the camp is helping to fulfill that need. Former camp counselors who had to leave their college campuses this semester have been quarantined together for more than 40 days, putting together meals.
It's nice to put your efforts into the community so that there is some good coming out of this.
How much this means to them, it just makes everything that much more fun.
It's fun with a purpose, aiding the community these locals care so much about.
I mean, we can't cure this and we can't, make them be able to go back to work right now, but, we can help at least them not worry about feeding their children.
This program does not receive donations from the Good Shepherd Food Bank, but camp members do a lot of volunteer work there during the summer. At home, Chloe Thibault, News Center, Maine.
We mentioned in the last half hour that today marks the start of National Nurses Week, and boy, if there was ever a time to show our appreciation, right? So now through next Wednesday, we're going to be sharing clips and generally celebrating the nursing profession.
Hi, I'm Sharon Turnbull and I work for Lincoln Health. I work at Cove's Edge, which is a long-term care facility in Damascotta. I was a teacher for years, but always wanted to be in the nursing profession, so I went back to school later in life and became a nurse at 50. I have been working in long-term care for most of that time and have enjoyed it. I enjoy the relationship that I build with the residents, and it's like becoming one big family. It was a decision that I made a while ago, and I'm glad that I made that decision to become a nurse, and wouldn't do anything differently.
We are glad you became a nurse too. Do you have a nurse in your life, family member or a friend, somebody you would like to celebrate? Send us a text with the word nurse, and then we will send you a link where you can upload a video.
A rather unusual weekend for May on the way. This Mother's Day is going to be spent with heavy jackets, maybe even winter coats instead of t-shirts. We've got the full forecast coming up after the break.
Alrighty, time to talk to Mike Schleifer again. If you live in the moment, then you're good because it's nice out. If you live in the future, you might have a little bit of a problem with what he's about to say, right, Mike?
It's going to be rough out there Saturday, Lee, and even Sunday doesn't look great. It's not until next week where we really bring back those warmer temperatures and some sunshine. We've got some sunshine out there right now, mixing in some cloud cover, still pretty skies across York, Standish, into Portland and Bar Harbor, with temperatures running in the upper 50s and low 60s for most. Now, parts of northern Maine are in the lower half of the 50s, but it's still not a bad day at all. Just a little bit cooler right along the coastline. As soon as you head inland just a little bit, Sanford at 61, Freiburg at 60 right now, 57 from Augusta to Bangor, 54 in Waterville right now, 51 in Rockland. So these are our current temperatures with maybe a couple of stray showers here or there. But again, I don't think that's really going to be too big of an issue for many of us today. Otherwise, the radar looks pretty clear, and we could see a couple of showers move through overnight. So pretty interesting how this system sets up. Temperatures tonight will definitely favor rain. We'll be on the warmer side of things. And we have our first batch of precip move through overnight, maybe just a little bit of mixing through some of the high elevations. You'll notice that we're talking about temperatures closer to that freezing point from Rangeley to about Jackman. So just keep an eye out for maybe a little bit of mixing. That ushers in some colder air through the day tomorrow. Unlikely that we see 60 degrees tomorrow, even if we do get a few breaks of sun in the afternoon. And then late tomorrow night, clouds will be on the increase and we get ready for a rather impressive and not so common storm for May. Let me explain how this works. So we'll have our cold front dip down. Second storm forms along the cold front. Here it is tomorrow at noon over West Virginia into Kentucky. And that actually just goes right along the front up into the Gulf of Maine. And as it does so, it pulls in cold air from parts of Canada and even into the North Pole. So this is really cold air we'll be dealing with, enough to transition over to some snow. I haven't changed this graphic from February. This is what I made February 15th. I haven't touched it since then, and it still fits pretty much perfectly. We're tapping into that really cold air from the North Pole, and we will likely see at least some snow accumulation, 3 to 6 inches for some of the higher elevations, 1 to 3 inches from Lewiston to Augusta and Bangor, and then right along the coastline expecting a coating to about an inch. And it will likely be mostly on the grass or on cars and things like that, not so much accumulating on the roadways, but still impressive to be talking about snow this late in May. Seas tomorrow, today 1 to 2 feet, northwest wind 5 to 10 knots. 7-day forecast shows an active weekend, chilly, but next week we definitely make up for that as temperatures slowly recover. I do think that maybe by Thursday or Friday next week, Lee, we'll be talking about widespread 60s, and if we can keep that sunshine around into the end of the week, it'll feel quite nice.
Widespread 60s, that is a goal for sure. All right, Mike, thank you very much. You know, even before the pandemic arrived here in Maine, hundreds of thousands of Mainers did not know where their next meal was going to come from. The economic crisis that has come from COVID-19 means a lot more Mainers are now depending on assistance from the Good Shepherd Food Bank and its network of food pantries statewide. News Center Maine's Lindsay Mills spoke with Kristen Maley, the president of Good Shepherd, for more on why this year's Feed Maine Telethon is so much more important than ever before.
This is the third year we are teaming up with you guys for the Feed Maine Telethon. So what does this mean for Good Shepherd Food Bank?
This year, it's even more important as we deal with the effects of the COVID-19 crisis on our state and how it's impacting our work. And so it couldn't come at a better time this year, and we look forward to what we know will be the continued generosity of Mainers supporting our work. So we estimate food insecurity could rise by 40%, which is, considering it was already a significant problem before this crisis, an increase of 40% on top of that is really quite staggering. Before this crisis hit, the food bank model was one that relied primarily on food donations to make the food bank model work so efficiently. And it also relied on a network of partners who engaged with people experiencing hunger on a regular basis to help them meet their food needs. That model really got turned on its head when COVID-19 hit. We're now having to purchase almost half of the food we provide. Normally, it's only about 10% of the food.
How much does Good Shepherd Food Bank depend on fundraising efforts?
Philanthropy provides more than 90% of the food bank's annual budget. When you add up the increased food costs and labor costs, we anticipate the 6-month cost of this response is going to add $6.3 million to our annual budget. So it's definitely your support is needed more than ever, and we can't thank people enough for helping us out.
Just to put that in perspective, what is the annual budget already?
The annual budget is just over $11 million. So this is going to be $6.3 million on top of the $11 million. So about a 50% increase to our annual budget. You know, we anticipate that people living in poverty are going to be experiencing the effects of this for a long time to come. So we need to make sure that not only are we responding today, but that the food bank and our partners are prepared to be able to continue to respond to people in the months to come.
That is great. All right, so we talked to Ryan Breton a little bit earlier in the broadcast. News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow is answering your calls this afternoon as well.
Hi everyone, I'm News Center Maine's Chloe Tebow. Thank you so much to everyone who has donated so far today to our annual Feed Maine Telethon in a time when it's really needed the most. Now, even before this pandemic, about 180,000 Mainers were food insecure, and Good Shepherd Food Bank says that number could go up to 250,000. To donate today, you can call in until 9 o'clock this evening, or you can visit feedmaine.com.
Alrighty, Chloe, thank you. When News Center Maine continues, we're going to visit one of the many food pantries in Maine, one of these places trying to cope with the huge demand for food assistance. The main goal behind the Feed Maine fundraiser today is simply to get supplies to those who need them most. The Good Shepherd Food Bank says nearly 3/4 of the pantries that it supplies are seeing many more people come through the doors right now. News Center Maine's Hannah Yeshivi takes us to one of them now, the Bar Harbor Food Pantry.
From the outside, all I could see were just 2 volunteers working at a fast pace. What used to be a place where people came in to shop for necessities has turned into a place to call, give your order, and then
we just set them on the picnic tables behind you and they drive by and pick up and drive off.
Sounds simple, but it's a big task, considering Bar Harbor Food Pantry is trying to accommodate 130 families a week. 40 more than just a couple of weeks ago.
And I know we're not reaching everybody that needs it.
That means pushing some families to the next week because there isn't enough staff nor hours in a day to get to them all. Sarah Graves was one of the lucky ones. She got all the essentials in her box.
A lot of veggies, fresh veggies and fruits are really good right now. Milks, eggs, cheese.
Responding to the increased food need, the Good Shepherd Food Bank. Currently, 25 different food pantries have suspended operations. But luckily, more than 400 other pantries in the state are still open.
A lot of our blue-collar, middle-class working families that, we're just getting by or no longer getting by.
It's a very big thing for our community, especially.
You've heard the numbers from us before. Approximately 200,000 Mainers rely on food agencies like this pantry. 1 in 5 Maine kids are food insecure. With layoffs from the pandemic, it's bound to get worse.
I think it's absolutely critical. I consider ourselves essential workers. We're here. If we don't keep our doors open, people are going to go hungry.
Which is why places like the Bar Harbor Food Pantry are working so hard during these uncertain days. In Bar Harbor, Hannah Yeshivi, News Center, Maine.
All right, we are wrapping up this hour of the Feed Maine Telethon. Let's talk to Mike Slifer one more time about the forecast. What you got for us, Mike?
Really not too bad out there today, Lee. Tomorrow, not quite as warm, but still mainly quiet. But tomorrow night into Saturday is where things get interesting. Chance for rain and snow through Maine. Blustery and cold on Saturday. Mother's Day on Sunday. Still feeling chilly no matter where you are, inland or at the coastline. But things are looking nicer next week.
Perfect. All right, at least we're heading in the right direction. Mike, thank you so much. And thank you folks for watching. And we want to tell you too, there's another matching hour we have starting at our 5:30 broadcast this evening. And the matching partners this evening will be Hannaford. They will also be matching donations up to $25,000. And I want to thank them. We want to thank you too for all the donations so far, because we've done pretty well, but we need to do more. But the total is up to $363,000 plus. Thanks so much. Thanks to Unum for matching $25,000 in that noon to 1 hour. And all these donations, again, go directly to help feed Maine people. Thank you so much for all your support. You can call or go online and donate until 9 o'clock tonight. And we'll see you back here starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Have a great day. We'll see you.